Thumbs up if you're ready na for our batch review. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so let's start with this. First of all, ang kailangan nating maunawa, we need to understand the things that would be included in our examination. So again, instead of 50, it's 40 points yan. So multiple choice question, short essay, and provide what is asked for. And since these are only 40 questions, so there will be around 10, tigda 10 halos, and 6 or 5 questions for the following. So take note, you will be studying 6.1, 7.1, 8.1, 8.2, 9.1, and 9.2. So hindi ko pala ito na-update to. So for Module 6.1, Interface and M-Phase, Module 7.1 will be karyotyping and packaging or DNA packaging. 8.1 is cell division, particularly on meiosis. 8.2 will be gametogenesis, so oogenesis and spermatogenesis. Module 9.1 will be loss of cell cycle control, particularly discussing on the cancer, and also human disorder due to chromosomal aberration. So these are the things that you have to study for our examination tomorrow. And then some reminders before we formally begin with our discussion. Number one, you will be given an answer sheet tomorrow, so you put all of your answers there. You can also write on the questionnaire, so you can make your marks there as well. And then for the type of question, for the MCQ, you are going to be writing capital letters of the correct answer. For short essay, there are blanks in the answer sheet, so you're going to be writing your answers there completely, briefly but completely. Is correction? Yes, if you don't have, I prefer that you will be using your correction tape, but if the case na nalimutan yung dalhin, you can just erase very, very clearly yung mga wrong answers nyo and also very clearly show what are your correct answers. So okay lang sa akin na may erasures. For short essay, write completely but briefly, around 2, 3, 4 sentences lamang hinihingi ko. And then there will be some questions that you need to provide the answers which are not necessarily MCQ, hindi rin naman siya short essay dyan. Okay, let me check yung question. Okay, so no problem. So those are some of the reminders. Another set of reminders, you are not allowed to look to your left. Of course, you are not allowed to look to your right. And you're only allowed to look up and down and only at your paper. So para your proctors will not interpret your action as cheating. So mahirap na kung that will be a level 2, if I'm not mistaken, offense yan. So do prevent yourselves from looking to your left and right. Number 5, as mentioned kanina, you can make erasures if you don't have correction tape. Make sure you cross out clearly the wrong answers. Okay, so mag-start na tayo para tayo mapabilis. So yes, bring your extra pen, and of course, go to the CR or get your water before the examination starts para hindi kayo namimilipit habang nag-examination. Alright, so let me start off by saying these are the important things that we have to take note of. Number 1, everything that we have been discussing will now be dealing inside of the nucleus, and this is the nucleus of the cell. You can see that in the very middle. Of course, inside of the nucleus, you will be finding, of course, the DNA, and all of our discussion will be starting from here. So the DNA at the very beginning would be uncondensed. It is unwound. It is not condensed. So you can see that this is a double-stranded and very, very long DNA. As we have mentioned in our discussion before, around if you're going to take DNA out of one cell, it will be around 2 meters long. So a nanometer long nucleus will try to fit in a 2-meter long DNA. So you can imagine how much condensation the DNA has to undergo. So it's a thread-like mesh. And then, of course, later on, it will become a chromosome, which you can see in the cell division. Now, before I continue, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly sa discussion natin? Okay, so the most important thing you have to remember for Module 7.1 is what we call as the chromosome packaging. There are several levels that we have discussed there, and actually we had an activity wherein we did a very long tie or twist tie, and then we tried to condense that. So we will simulate it actually yung pinaka-DNA. So that is how chromosomal packaging would be happening here. And there are several levels you have to take note of. Now, before we go to that, do remember that there are important parts of the chromosome. This one chromosome and this one chromosome. If you're going to be asked what would be this will be the homologous chromosomes. Do remember that the homologous chromosomes are exactly the same chromosome, one of which will be coming from the father, the other will be coming from the mother. So if this will be chromosome 1, you have one homologous chromosome 1, and then you have another homologous chromosome 1 that will be in pairs. That's why the organism will be diploid in their chromosome number. So do call that as homologous chromosomes. And then what do you call the center of the homologous chromosome, which would be the waistline of our chromosome? Can you write in the chat box kung anong tawag doon sa waistline? Okay, you call that as the centromere, that's right. If you're going to be talking about non-homologous chromosome, then you're going to be comparing chromosomes that are not part of the pair. So for example, I have a chromosome 1 and then I have a chromosome 22. So they are not homologous chromosome because they are not part of the pair. But the homologous chromosome will have the symbol chromosome 1 and another chromosome 1, and they will be considered as homologous chromosome. And then you have to remember that the homologous chromosome will always be containing the same type, same kind of genes. So if the homologous chromosome has A, B, C, then the other homologous chromosome, part of the pair, will also have A, B, C. But if we're going to be comparing two chromosomes that are non-homologous, chromosome 1, for example, and chromosome 22, for example, it might have A, B, C. Then the non-homologous chromosome will contain, for example, Z, Y, G, so something like that. So that will be the discussion. That will be how you will be defining homologous chromosome and non-homologous chromosome. So going back here, after DNA replication, of course, you will double the amount of DNA, which we will be discussing a little bit later. So what do you call this to? You now call this as homologous chromosome again, but each one of these chromosomes will have another, what we call as a sister chromatid. So before DNA replication, you only have one strand. After DNA replication, you will have two strands over here. So let me just ask, kasi very important yung question, what is the chromosome number? If you're going to be looking at the left-hand side of the diagram, how many chromosomes do you see there? Can I see in the chat box your answer there? Yes, that's right. You can see 2. Because in order for us to determine the number of chromosomes, you count the number of functional centromeres. So in this case, you have 1 and then 2. So you have 2 chromosomes here. And then after DNA replication, if you look at the right-hand side of the diagram, how many chromosomes do you have after DNA replication? Can I see your answer in the chat box? The number of chromosomes here will be, ano naman number of chromosomes natin for the right-hand side? Okay, that's right. It will be 2 as well. So you have to remember, habang nakadikit pa rin ang centromeres, while the centromeres are still connected together, these sister chromatids will be considered still as one chromosome. So this is one chromosome, but it contains 2 sister chromatids. This is another chromosome, but it will be containing 2 sister chromatids there. So that's how we are going to be, you need to be able to distinguish between that. So in this case, the amount of DNA duplicated, the amount of DNA doubled, but the number of chromosomes, because of the availability of the functional centromere, remains the same. So the chromosome number is 2 over here, the chromosome number is 2 over here. So there's a difference if the question would be the number of chromosome as compared to the question, the amount or the weight or the amount of chromosome, DNA. So there will be a difference in that 2 questions. Can I see a thumbs up if you're able to see the difference between the 2 questions na iyan? Okay, very good. So let's now continue with the next part of the discussion. So these are the basic shapes you have to remember. Of course, you have here the homologous chromosomes yan. So just to emphasize lamang, this will be the centromere. May protein siya na kinetochore, but you will be taking note of that when you are later in the college. And then this is called the synaptonemal complex, which we'll be discussing a little while later, because they have physical connection to each other, as symbolized by the white lines that you can see over here. Okay, now one of the important things we discussed in 7.1 would be the karyotype, and you have to remember that there are 2 important parts of the karyotype. We of course have the autosomes, and then we have the sex chromosome. And the whole picture that you can see here is called the karyotype. So again, picture of the chromosomes in their condensed form. And if I will be asking the question, what stage of mitosis is the karyotype made or the picture is taken? Can you write in the chat box, ano yung pinakamagandang stage? Okay, prophase stage. Okay, good try, but it's not prophase stage. What is the stage wherein you should take your karyotype? Yes, that's right. It's the metaphase stage. And the reason for that is because it is the most condensed. The chromosomes are so condensed that it's very easy now to take a picture of your chromosome. Okay, so going back here, so karyotype again is the picture of the chromosome. And take note, the autosomes will be those chromosomes that are not sex chromosome. So for the humans, that would be including chromosome number 1 up to chromosome number 23. All of this will be autosomes. Okay, and the sex chromosomes will be inclusive of the XX chromosome if it's a female or the XY chromosome if it will be the male. So yun ang pinakailangan tandaan natin. Of course, there will be several other kinds of karyotypes like for the plants or for the animal species, but for the purpose of our discussion ngayon, we'll be using the human karyotype dito. So just remember that one. Do also notice that they are always in pairs. So this will be diploid organism. The humans are called diploid. Here's another picture of the normal karyotype. You can see that they are always in twos. They are always in pairs, except for the X and the Y. So that will be very important here. Now, one more thing that we discussed would be the type of chromosome based on the position of the centromere. So you can see that this one is called the telocentric. The reason being that the centromere is at the very end. Telos means end. So the centromere is at the end of the chromosome. Acrocentric, there's just a little bit of the P arm on the top, just like Mickey Mouse ears. And then the rest will be the Q arm, longer siya. So the acrocentric has longer Q arm as compared to the P arm, which look like Mickey Mouse ears. Submetacentric, we have this type of chromosome wherein the centromere is found not exactly on the center, but a little off the center, so that the P arm, the top arms, will be a little shorter compared to the Q arm, the longer arm, while the metacentric will be more or less. Of course, we cannot really measure that accurately because we're just using our eyes, but using the light microscope, more or less, it is found at the center of the chromosome. Okay, can I see a thumbs up if you're able to remember this part of the discussion natin? Okay, very good. With that, let's have a little review. Okay, given the karyotype of Zea mays, which is corn plant, below, what type of chromosomes are the following? So I'm going to be asking chromosome number, and you're going to be writing in the chat box what is the type of chromosome. Is it the telocentric, the acrocentric, the submetacentric, or is it the metacentric chromosome? So starting with chromosome number 2, this one, what do you think this is? Can I see in the chat box what type of chromosome is that? Okay, that is right. It is metacentric because it is more or less at the center as we're going to be using our eyes. How about chromosome number 3? What kind of chromosome is this? Chromosome number 3, right in the chat box. That's right. Very good, everyone. It is indeed acrocentric. As you can see that the P arm is shorter, just like Mickey Mouse ears compared to the Q arm at the bottom. How about chromosome number 4? What do you think is chromosome number 4? Chromosome number 4 is, yes, that's right. It is indeed acrocentric. And how about chromosome number 5? What kind of chromosome or type of chromosome would that be? Can you write in the chat box again? Acrocentric? Okay. Well, if you're gonna be looking a little bit there, it's more on the metacentric. Okay. Maybe you can argue a little bit on the submetacentric, but looking at this point, especially the right one, it's more on the metacentric rather than the submetacentric. Okay. So how about chromosome number 6? This one. Okay, this one. Okay. Yes, that's right. It's called the telocentric because the chromosome can be found at the very end. And how about chromosome number 10? What is this? That is okay, that's right. It's called telocentric. Okay. Another example, parang gets talaga natin. Here is Panthera tigris or tiger. Okay, how about chromosome number 1? What do you think is the type of chromosome? That is a... Yes, that's right. It's metacentric. How about chromosome number 2? This one, that is a... Okay, submetacentric. It's a little bit near or off the middle. That's submetacentric indeed. How about chromosome number 3? What do you call this? This one is... Acrocentric, that's right. How about chromosome number 10 over here? What do you call this one? Chromosome number 10. What type of chromosome? It would be, okay, it's more on the acrocentric. So how do you know if it's telocentric? There are no Mickey Mouse ears. So this will be acrocentric. And a few more. Number 13, what do you call this? Number 13, what type of chromosome? Yes, that one is now the telocentric because there is no Mickey Mouse ears. And how about the X chromosome? Should be singular pala. X chromosome. That is a, yes, that's right. It's a metacentric. Okay, can I see from heart reaction kung naintindihan nyo yung mga types na yun? Okay, very good. So it's actually very easy. You're gonna be needing that especially when you go to college and especially when you're doing cell observations. Okay, so let's go to another topic after this one. All right. Okay, how many autosome pairs do you see in this drawing? This is Chinese muntjac. That's another animal. How many pairs do you see here? Okay, so you just have to count, and you have here 22. Okay, that's right, the 22. The answer to this is 22 pairs indeed of autosome. How many sex chromosomes do you see here? Okay, you have 2 individual chromosomes, 1 pair. Pwede rin yan. What is the chromosome number then? The chromosome number is, okay, that's right, 46. But to make it complete, you have to write down the diploid number. 2n is equal to 42 plus 32 times 2 is 44. Oh, that should be 46. I made a mistake here. It should be 46 over here. So let me change that. So tama kayo. It is now 46. Okay, so let me just change. Very nice. Okay, so let's continue on. Okay, so that's the answer. 22, 1, and 22 is equal to 46. How about this one? This is a bird. How many autosome pairs do you see here? Can I see in your answer? The autosome pairs would be number of, yes, it will be 39 indeed, 39 pairs. How many sex chromosomes do you see? How many pairs? Okay, 2 chromosomes. How many pairs? That will be 1 pair. That's right. The correct answer there is indeed 1 pair. And napakita ko na sagot. The answer, the chromosome number is 80. So 39 plus 1 pair is 40. Since tiga-tigalawa ang mga chromosomes na yan, times 2, then you have 2n is equal to 80. Okay, very good. Can you see a thumbs up if you're able to understand yung portion na yan? Okay, very good. So wala na tayong problem sa ating 7.1 as well as the karyotyping. So it's very easy. Let's now continue. Another thing that we have to take note of is the DNA packaging. So we did that, a lot of things, the activity. So you start off with the DNA, naked DNA without any kind of protein. And then you're going to round it up the nucleus or to produce the nucleosome. And you're going to round up the DNA around the nucleus or the histone core 2 times. And that's why it's going to be called a beads on a string configuration. So this is around 11 nanometers. And then you will have the beads on the string. The beads on the string will go around each other, producing a solenoid, which is a hollow tube of nucleosomes. If you're going to be looking at the top, you see here that it is indeed like a hollow tube with hollow in the middle, a lumen inside of the in the middle. And then at the side view, you will see that it's like a cylinder. Okay, and then after that, the solenoid, you're going to wrap it up into a 30 nanometer fiber, and then finally a chromatin, and then the 700 nanometer, which will be the chromosome. Now, very important you have to remember would be the nucleosome, because there will be several parts that you have to remember here. So the DNA goes around twice, and then it will be clipped by an H1 histone. So without the H1 histone, nucleosomes will never form because it will not be able to maintain the nucleosome or the histone core together. And then the histone core will be made up of 8 proteins, which will name as follows. You will have 2 of the H3, 1 and 2. You have 2 of the H2B, 1 and 2. You have 2 of the H4, and you have 2 of the H2A, which is found at the other side. So for you to remember, H1, H2A, H2B, H3, and then H4. So that will be the DNA packaging. So that will cause our DNA to condense very, very well, so that at the prophase stage, you can now individually see the chromosomes. Okay, go. Oh yes, they are similar. So there are always 2 copies in the histone core. Since 8 na proteins iyan, there are 2 copies of each one of them. So for H2A, 2 copies. For H2B, 2 copies. H3 2 copies, and H4 2 copies. So when you put them together, it forms an 8, how do you say that, an octamer of a protein. Okay, can I say it? Okay na, was I able to answer your question? Yeah, okay, very good. Okay, so that's it. So that will be the important thing that we have to take note over here. Now, of course, we have to remember now the cell cycle. So can you give me the answer to this one? So niramble ko na ito. Can you write in the chat box the answer? What do you call the whole thing here? Maliban na lang doon sa white one, we call that as the, okay, yes, it's called the interface. Okay, and then you have number 2. What do you call this part of the interface? You call that as the G1 phase. That's right. What do you call the number 3 over here? You call that as the, okay, it's the S phase. The number 4 is what? Okay, it's the G2 phase. That's right. And then number 5 is prophase. Number 6 is, yes, that's right, it will be metaphase. Number 7 is anaphase. Number 8, telophase. Number 9, cytokinesis. And of course, that's the mitosis. Hindi ko pala naramble. Iba pala nailagay ko na slide pala dyan. When the, okay, kinto, medyo advance, kasi the DNA, when it is condensed, it's actually not available anymore for what they call this, for proteins or enzymes. So there will be no catalysis, there will be no processes that will be happening. But once it becomes uncondensed or siya ay na unwind, it is now that the DNA will be available na. So in a bit on a string conformation, the DNA will be a little bit exposed so that the enzymes will be able to access them. So if your question if the histone proteins are absent, the DNA will still be available, but they will no longer be available. They will no longer be able to condense as a chromosome. But still, the DNA will be available for other processes like for enzymes. Okay, so let me just continue. Okay, so this is the cell cycle, so we're already very familiar with this. What is the longest phase of the cell cycle? The answer to this is, can you type in the chat box? Okay, it is the what? It is the, yes, it is the interphase. And what is the shortest phase of the cell cycle? You call that as the, yes, it's the M phase, mitosis, or the meiosis phase. Okay, that's right. So the very important thing that you have to remember for the cell cycle, particularly the interphase stage first, is that the G1 will be where the cellular contents will be produced. So it will increase the amount of cytoplasm. And of course, take note that organelles are duplicated here. Otherwise, once you have your daughter cells, if you will not be able to duplicate your cytoplasm or not be able to duplicate your organelles, then your cell or daughter cells will contain less of the cytoplasm, or it will contain less or less of the, or none of all, not at all of the organelles. So your cells will be dying. So very important that the G1 phase increase its size as well as produce, duplicate its organelles. On the other hand, the S phase will of course be duplicating the amount of DNA. The number of chromosomes remains the same, but the amount of DNA will now double after S phase. And finally, at the G2 phase, you have the double checks that are very important here. Otherwise, you will have errors in the DNA which will make it detrimental for the cell. Okay, can I see a celebratory reaction if you're able to remember those discussion natin sa atin? Okay, very good. So those are the important things you have to remember for the S phase. Now let's look at the diagram here. At the gap phase, you will increase the cytoplasm, double the organelles, but the chromosome will only have one strand. And then after S phase, the chromosome or the DNA will now be duplicated. So you will be producing another strand over here. So by the end or the start of the G2 phase, you will have two strands. So that's why you will now have one chromatid and another chromatid for your DNA. So you have double the amount of DNA, but still, since you still have just one functional centromere, the chromosome number remains the same. Okay, very good. And then in mitosis, as you will be seeing a little bit later, these chromatids will start to separate, or the object for this is to separate them, and then eventually you will produce two daughter cells. So let me just emphasize that once more. At the G1 phase, you have one chromatids for each one of them. At the end of S phase or the beginning of G2 phase, you will have 2 chromatids for each of the chromosomes here. So let me just ask for this diagram on the left, how many chromosomes can you see? Can you write in the chat box dito? How many chromosomes do you see here on the diagram on the left? That's right, it would be 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. After S phase or going to G2 phase, how many chromosomes do you see here? Can I see in your chat box? It is still 4 because you only have 1, 2, 3, 4 centromeres. And then when we go into M phase over here, this is the prophase stage. How many chromosomes can you see in the prophase stage? Okay, can I see your answer here at the drawing this parent cell in the M phase? How many chromosomes can you see in the prophase stage? Okay, again, we just count the number of functional centromeres here. The answer to this is 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So very important that you are able to number the number of chromosomes. Okay, can you see a thumbs up kung nagigets natin yung pinaka-discussion natin at this point in time? Okay, any problems with my audio? Any problems with my PowerPoint? Can you say thumbs down kung wala naman tayong problema? Okay, very good everyone. Let's now proceed with the next part of our discussion. So again, of course, you're very familiar that there's what we call as a G0 phase. And in the G0 phase, it is our non-dividing cells, just like in the nerve cells and the cardiac cells. So the most important thing that you have to remember to G0 phase is that the cells do not grow further and they do not multiply. So particularly the cardiac and the nerve cell, they undergo G0 phase for the rest of the cell's life. Okay, so hindi na magdi-divide yan, ha? Just remember that. Okay, good question. Okay, during the developmental stage until you become a baby inside of the mother's womb, of course, the cells will continue on dividing. So kaya nga sabi ng mga scientists na the development of the brain during the embryonic stage is very, very important. Kaya at this point, may division naman siya. But once you are born, pag pinanganak ka, magdi-divide pa rin, magdadagdag pa rin siya, but it comes to a point that when you are, there comes a point that it will stop already and no more division will happen after that, especially, for example, kung ikaw ay toddler na, ikaw ay elementary student na, so it's no longer gonna divide anymore. So whatever brain cell that you have, yun na yun talaga yan. Okay, so meron naman division siya, but it will come to a point that it will stop and will enter G0. The same thing with the cardiac cell. Syempre yung ating heart when we are still a baby or an embryo, so ito ay magdi-divide until it becomes the size of the adult heart, and then it will stop there. Okay, let's now proceed with the mitosis. Now for the mitosis, ito yung mga kailangan tandaan. Okay, can you tell me what stage is letter A? Ito very important. Letter A is what stage? It is the prophase stage. And of course, you have to remember the very important itong mga parts na ito. The number 1 is what kind of organelle? You call that as the, ano tawag sa organelle na yan? Okay, letter C, don't forget that. You call that as the centrosome or the centrosome, should be centrosome or centrioles. And then, of course, itong number 10 naman natin, ito is the nuclear membrane. So, unti-unti na nagdi-disappear yung nuclear membrane. Letter B, of course, very familiar na. You call that as the metaphase stage. Very good. And of course, ito you have to remember that this would be the cell membrane portion na ito. Now, letter C, what do you call this stage? You call that as the, it is the anaphase stage. And what do you call this part of the chromosome that is being separated? You call that as the spindle fiber. The spindle fiber will be the ones that will be pulling it. Yes, it's called the sister chromatids. So the sister chromatids will be separating during the anaphase stage. Itong stage naman sa letter D is what you call as the, you call the stage as the telophase stage. Very good. Very important. And of course, cytokinesis will be happening here. And then finally, you have the interphase stage. So para mapabilis, just take note that this would be the cell membrane, this will be the nucleolus, the centrosome, and of course, the DNA or the chromatin. So very important talaga yung ating yung part nito. Now, for mitosis, as we have already done in our activity, this will be very helpful. What will be the chromosome number of the G1 phase? You have to take note, 1, 2, 3, 4 ang ating chromosome dito because there's only one strand or one chromatid. After S phase, we have 2n is equal to 4 pa rin because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 functional centromeres, although each one of them will have chromatids. And then G2 phase, it will simply increase the amount of, it will double check the DNA, so nothing will happen to the amount of chromosomes nor the amount of DNA here. But for the start of our mitosis, of course, it has already condensed, and you can already see the chromosomes here. What's the chromosome number prophase? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 is equal to 4. And then the chromosomes are already condensed. They're still scattered. And then when it goes to metaphase stage, you have to remember that they are found at the metaphase plate over here. And the chromosomes are on the metaphase plate more or less. So just remember that. And then going now after metaphase, you now have the anaphase stage. So again, do remember there are two types of question here. How many chromosomes per cell and how many chromosomes per pole? If you're going to be asked how many chromosomes per cell, you have to take note of the whole cell membrane. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 chromosomes, because since the chromatids have separated, you now have 8 functional individual centromeres here. So the answer would be 8 chromosomes per cell. But if the question will be how many chromosomes per pole, then you have to go to one side and you have to count the chromosomes going to the other side. So you have here for one side, 1, 2, 3, 4 chromosomes on this pole, and 1, 2, 3, 4 chromosomes on the other pole. Okay, can I see a celebratory reaction if you're able to understand yung portion na yan? Okay, very important siya, so huwag niyo kalilimutan yan. And of course, finally, you have your telophase, where the nucleus will just form around the DNA. And then, of course, the chromosomes have already begun to unwound siya, uncondense. And then finally, you have your cytokinesis, wherein it's a plant, it will now produce a cell plate, or if it is an animal cell, it will just pinch off and then produce 2 daughter cells. How many chromosomes here? The answer would be 1, 2, 3, 4 in this cell, 1, 2, 3, 4 in this cell. But for the telophase, how many chromosomes do we have here? Again, the question either per cell or per pole. Since you still have one cell membrane here containing everything, it's still considered one cell. So you have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 5, 6, 7, 8. So per cell, it will be 8 chromosomes. Per pole, it will be 4 chromosomes. Okay, so I hope you were able to get that. Okay, okay. Can you still hear me right now? Naririnig niyo pa rin ba ako? Can I say a thumbs up if my microphone is okay? Okay, thank you very much. So that's the whole thing you have to remember about mitosis. Okay, so let me just ask, what stage is number 1? Can you write in the chat box what stage is number 1? It is? Yes, it is the anaphase stage. What stage is number 2? What is this? Okay, it is the, okay, it's not actually prophase, but it is the, yes, the prophase pala, that's right, prophase nga. And then what do you call number 3? The 3 is called the interphase. Very good. What do you call number 4? Number 4 is the telophase. That's right. Number 5 is, okay, what's number 5? Yes, it's the prometaphase, so it's between prophase. And of course, number 6, you already know. Number 6 is the metaphase stage. Okay, so madali na ito, kayang-kaya nyo na ito. Okay, very nice. So again, this would be the whole sequence, so interphase, prophase, then going to metaphase. Although yung chromosomes ng metaphase parang sabog-sabog pa rin siya, but you can actually delineate that there's something happening in the very middle. And then you have the mitosis, the anaphase stage, where the chromosome will separate like fans, going towards opposite poles, and finally you have your telophase, wherein the chromosome gathering together. Okay, again, can I say a thumbs up if you're able to understand this portion? Okay, very good. So sobrang dali lang, ano. Alright, so I'm gonna skip all of this kasi ito naman ay alam na natin. Just to remember that for the animal cell, there will be a cleavage furrow, or it will just pinch off to separate the 2 cells from each other, while the plant cell will produce a cell plate, producing an additional cell wall over here. All right. Now, what's the chromosome number? Do take note that the chromosome number at the beginning of the mother cell, the original cell, producing the daughter cells, it will be the same. So 46 ang original cell. the daughter cells will both have 46 as well. Ano itong 92? The 92 is the point of anaphase where the chromatid separates, so the chromosome number will double at the anaphase stage. But after telophase, and then after cytokinesis, it returns back to chromosome number 46. So the original cell and the daughter cells will always have, number one, same kind of chromosome, number two, same number of chromosomes. Okay, very important siya. So we already are familiar with this one. And yan, here's some question. Which of the following mitosis process characteristic pairs is true? A, metaphase of mitosis, crossing over occurs. B, interphase of mitosis, kinetochore microtubules attach at centromeres. C, anaphase of mitosis, sister chromatids separate and move towards opposite poles. Or D, prophase of mitosis, synapses occur. What do you think is the answer here? Letter? Okay, correct answer is letter C. Very good. Let's just answer a few more. The cell cycle. A, includes G1, the stage in which chromosome replicate. B, include M, the stage during which anaphase occurs. C, includes G2, a stage of cell growth. Or D, includes C, a stage in which cell organelles such as chloroplast and mitochondria replicates. What's the correct answer here? Is it A, B, C, or D? The correct answer is letter B indeed. Very good. M contains the anaphase stage. Okay, a few more questions. Which of the following conclusions should be drawn about the cell illustration below? A, cell A is an anaphase mitosis. B, cell A is 2n is equal to 4. C, cell A is n is equal to 4. D, cell A is in metaphase of meiosis 2. Correct answer there is, okay, it is letter B. A is 2n is equal to 4. Process where the cytoplasm divide is called, ito alam nyo, anaphase, telophase, cytokinesis. Yes, it is letter C. It is cytokinesis. So may isa pa pala ko. In mitosis, the duplication of chromosome occurs during A, early prophase, B, late prophase, C, interphase, D, late telophase. Correct answer there is? Okay, it is interphase. Okay, meron pa. So, skip ko na to. Sobra na tayo sa dami ng ating ano. Okay, let me just... Okay, meiosis naman tayo. What are the difference between mitosis and meiosis? Okay, you have to remember this important thing. I presented this already, so I'm just gonna summarize everything so that you will be recalling. In mitosis, where does it occur? It occurs in somatic or body cells. Other than sex cells, all the other cells in the body are somatic cells. Occurs in meiosis 1 and meiosis 2 will be occurring in, you already know this, happens in the germline cells, which is also a synonym for egg cell, sperm cell, or what we call as the gametic cells. Okay, this is also known as particularly what kind of cell division. Mitosis is called somatic division. Some books will also call this as equational division. Reason being that the number would be equal. So before mitosis, it's 46. After mitosis, the chromosome number of daughter cells still 46. Kaya equal pa rin siya, equational division. Meiosis is called as reductional division because the number of chromosomes are being halved. So if you have 10 chromosomes after meiosis 1, how many chromosomes do you have? Can you write in the chat box? How many chromosomes do you have after meiosis 1? If you have 10 chromosomes in the beginning, it will be 5. So you always cut it in half, and that will be the answers to such question. What is the type of division for meiosis 2? It's called equational division because once you have reduced the number of chromosomes, you cannot half it again. Kundi it will be equal. So, for example, at the start of meiosis 1, you have 10. At the end of meiosis 1, you have 5 because of reductional division. At the start of meiosis 2, you have 5. At the end of meiosis 2, it will still be 5. Okay, yung part na yan. Can you say a thumbs up if you're able to understand yung part na yan? Okay, can you say a thumbs up? Okay, very good, everyone. So, start, it begins 2N, diploid siya. Meiosis 1, diploid. And then meiosis 2 will be starting at haploid. And so, mitosis starts at diploid and ends at diploid. Meiosis starts at diploid and ends as a haploid, and meiosis 2 starts at a haploid and ends as a haploid. Does crossing over happens in mitosis? The answer is it does not. Meiosis 1, does it occur? Can I see a thumbs up kung nag-occur ang crossing over sa ating meiosis 1? Yes, it does. That's good. How about meiosis 2? Does crossing over happen? Can you say a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Okay, the thumbs down. No, it doesn't occur. Very good. The function of mitosis is for growth and repair, and for meiosis and meiosis 2 it's for sexual reproduction. production. Okay, can I see a heart reaction kung na-absorb natin so far natin mga discussion? Okay, I'll go a little bit faster para tayo makatapos-tapos agad. So what are the things that you have to take note comparing between mitosis and meiosis? I'm gonna go fast here. Mitosis, 4 stages in total. PMAT. Okay, can you open your video if you are able to open your video, and let's do our hand signals, hand signs pala for the PMAT again. Okay, let's start. Let's do it at the same time. Anong tawag dito? Okay, this is called. Pakibukas na pala yung microphone para sabay-sabay natin mabangkit. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. You call this as prophase. You call this next naman is
metaphase.
Metaphase, and then you call this as
Anaphase.
Anaphase, and finally you have
Telophase.
Telophase, and of course, don't forget the cytokinesis. So that's why for mitosis, you only have 4 stages. Thank you very much, everyone. You can close your video if you want to. So 4 stages in mitosis. But in meiosis, you have 8 stages. The reason being, kasi may meiosis 1, merong meiosis 2. Tapos meron kang under meiosis 1, PMAT 1, 4 stages, you have PMAT 2, 4 stages, so you have a total of 8 stages. Other differences or comparison, mitosis happens again in somatic, happens in germ cell and meiosis, tapos cell proliferation, ang mitosis, sexual reproduction, and I need to emphasize this, mitosis produces 2 diploid daughter cells, while meiosis produces 4 haploid daughter cells. So that's why 4 sperm cells, and then for the egg cells, technically 4 din siya, but you have one egg cell, and then you will have 3 of the polar bodies. But technically, it's still 4 cells pa rin siya. Another thing you have to remember is that the chromosome number remains the same in mitosis. In meiosis, the chromosome number is cut into 2, is halved. Kaya to ay reductional division. And one more thing, in terms of the kind of DNA or kind of chromosomes, genetic variation doesn't happen in mitosis, while genetic variation happens in meiosis. Okay, thumbs up if naiintindihan natin yung comparisons na yan. Okay, very good, everyone. Okay, so let's go to the next discussion. Okay, now for meiosis, at i-emphasize ko lamang yung pinaka-important difference here, no? Because we'll be going to the meiosis a little bit later. Notice, the first important difference that you will be noticing is that the metaphase in mitosis, the chromosomes are lining at the metaphase plate, while for meiosis, particularly metaphase 1, it's not individual chromosome. It's homologous chromosomes or pairs of chromosomes that are lining up at the metaphase plate. So that's one of the very important differences you have to remember here. Okay, what else do we take note of? The number of daughter cells again. So you have here 2 daughter cells. You have here 1, 2, 3, 4 daughter cells. And you take note of the chromosome. They have, for mitosis, identical and 2 daughter cells in terms of their chromosomes. But the chromosomes of the daughter cells in meiosis are varied. So that is where sexual variation will happen. There's another, if you remember the question, where does variation occur? Take note that variation occurs here at the Paquetine stage and prophase stage because of the crossing over. The second place where variation happens will be at metaphase 1. Bakit? Notice na red and red in one side, blue and blue on the other side. It is also possible na while the chromosomes are moving towards metaphase 1, nagkapalit sila. So it's possible that instead of red and red, it's possible that blue and red, and the other one will contain red and blue. So there is a rearrangement, a possible rearrangement, and that will be the second level or second area where variation can also happen. So again, Paquetine stage, variation, first level, and then the metaphase 1 can also happen because of the rearrangement of the homologous chromosome. Okay, can I see a clap reaction if you understand that important point? Okay, very good. Okay, very good. So let's just go through our discussion. So ito, nabanggit ko na kanina, so I'll just skip this one. Okay, what are the sub-stages of prophase 1, if you still remember? Okay, what is our mnemonics again? Sige. Okay, yes, that's right. The leptotin will be the first stage. So before we go to that, what will be the mnemonics that you have to remember? LC, LPZ, DD. Okay, that's right. And of course, do not forget the important mnemonics, little zebras playing dodgeball delightfully so that you won't forget. I'll go very fast. L would be for leptotin. Z is for zygotin. That's right. P is for pakitin. D is for diplotin, and the last one is for, yes, it's diakinesis. So we're going a little bit fast. Very, very good. Everyone remembers this very well. So I'm just going to give you the most important thing you have to remember. So for leptotin, chromosomes are already visible, and the ends are going towards the centrosome. So that's the most important thing you have to remember for leptotin. Chromosomes are already visible. For zygotin, the synaptonemal complex are forming because homologous chromosomes are joined together. Okay, so they are forming the synaptonemal complex at this point in time. So that's the important thing you have to remember for zygotin. Yung synapsis later pa pala yun, you call this as the synaptonemal complex. And pakitin was the most important thing that happens here because of the physical connection of the homologous chromosome crossing over now happens. So that is the random mixture of genetic material. That's the most important thing we have to remember. As you can see over here, you can now have the crossing over. And then diplotin, you produce what we call as the chiasmata. Oh, I'm sorry. Synapsis nga pala ito. Synapsis, synaptonemal complex. Chiasmata pala. Kailangan ko i-emphasize for this one. So the chiasma will be forming. Do remember that the chromosome, dati kasi may synaptonemal complex, but they have started to drift away from each other. And the only point of contact will be at the chiasma, which is the point of recombination, or what we call as the crossing over. So that is what happens in diplotin. And finally, in diakinesis, terminalization, eventually you will separate the whole homologous chromosome from each other. Can I say a thumbs up if you're able to remember that? Yan. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. So, showing now the, this is leptotin, as you have done in the activity natin, very fast, sorry. This is zygotin, forming of the synaptonemal complex, pairing together of the homologous chromosome. You have pakitin, crossing over or synapsis happening here. Nag-exchange na sila ng parts. And then you have the diplotin, wherein the homologous chromosome na-dissolve na ang synaptonemal complex. No more physical connection at the most part of the chromosome. So they drift away, leaving only what we call as the chiasmata, point of crossing over. And then by the end of diakinesis, nagte-terminalize or naghihiwalay na siya. And then you have terminalization over here. Okay, once again, can I say a heart reaction if you're able to remember all of those? Okay, very good. So sana maging madali pagdating sa examination natin. Alright, so let's now go through the whole, this is the end of Prophase 1. Ngayon, now, do remember when it now goes to the meiosis naman, it's very important that you have to remember this. So this is, let's see, cytokinesis, nakiwalay na. And then at the beginning of metaphase 1, of course, may prophase 1 kanina. I think nalimutan ko ilagay siya. But the nucleus will disappear. The chromosomes will condense. And then you have your metaphase 1. Again, by pairs sila at the middle. Once the spindle fiber have attached themselves, it will now pull each chromosomes towards each end. So this is the separation of the homologous chromosomes. And finally, at the telophase 1, you will form again the nucleus. And then, more or less, mag-unwind uli yung mga DNA natin. So we're done with metaphase, with meiosis 1. Thumbs up kung naintindihan ng meiosis 1 at this point. Yan, okay. Good. Okay, very good. Next naman, pagdating naman sa meiosis 2 natin, of course, you will undergo prophase 2. The nucleus will disappear. The chromosomes will condense again. Then, it will undergo metaphase, wherein individual chromosomes are now on the metaphase plate. So, they're no longer in pairs, but individual chromosomes would be on the metaphase plate. And this is reminiscent of mitosis. Kaya pareho sila actually na equational division at this point in time. So now you have the metaphase wherein the chromosomes are in the middle. The sister chromatids will now separate from each other. Kaya if you're gonna be asked, what's the chromosome number? For this cell, you have 1, 2 chromosome number. For this cell, you have 1, 2 chromosome number. But for anaphase, again, the question, how many chromosomes per cell? It is 1, 2, 3, 4 for this cell, 1, 2, 3, 4 for this cell. The question, how many chromosomes per pole? For this, you have 2 chromosomes on this pole, 2 chromosomes on this pole, 2 chromosomes on this pole and then 2 chromosomes on this pole. Okay, sige. Can you give me a clap reaction kung naiintindihan natin yung portion na iyon? Okay, thank you very much everyone. And let's finish up na lamang sa part na ito. And then you will undergo telophase 2. You produce here the nucleus. But again, since this is still one chromosome, one cell, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 chromosomes per cell. Then you have 2 chromosomes per pole pa rin. And then once cytokinesis is done, you now have 4 cells now. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then how many chromosomes per cell? You have 2 chromosomes per cell. Do remember, not only do you have 4 daughter cells here, but the chromosomes are very, very, very different from each other. So for the upper left chromosomes, you have red and yellow, but the upper right, you now have yellow with a portion of red and a red with a portion of yellow. So it's very different na. Kaya dyan ang genetic variation natin. Okay, I'm gonna skip this one kasi discuss ko na rin lang naman siya so that we can go to this one. Okay, so after the meiosis, you have 23 chromosomes in the original cell. After meiosis 2, you have 23. So by the end of the whole of meiosis, both meiosis 1 and meiosis 2, at the end of everything, you will have half the chromosome number. 46 at the beginning and then 23 at the very end. Okay, a few questions before we continue. What of the following meiosis process characteristic pair is true? Prophase of meiosis 1, synapsis occur. Metaphase of meiosis 2, crossing over occurs. Interphase of meiosis 2, DNA replicates. Anaphase of meiosis 1, sister chromatids separate and moves towards pole. What's the answer? A, B, C, or D? The answer is... Okay, the answer is, there's a D, there's an A, let's see. Correct answer is letter A. So, synapses occur in prophase of meiosis 1. Okay, so spermatogenesis, ito emphasize ko na lang pinaka-importante. The spermatogonium, then it will go into primary spermatocyte, then it will go into secondary spermatocyte, then you will go to spermatids, and then finally you have sperm cells. For spermatogonium and primary spermatocytes, there is a mitosis here. So the 2N, the diploid, it will undergo mitosis producing a diploid 2N primary spermatocytes. So please do remember, if the question would be which stages would be diploid, it's always the gonium and always the primary. So either whether it's the oogonium or the spermatogonium, it's always diploid. Whether it's the primary spermatocyte or the primary oocyte, it will always be diploid then. So both meiosis will have mitosis and meiosis processes. Okay, and then the rest would be haploid na, secondary spermatocyte, spermatid, and sperm cell. So at the end of the spermatogenesis, you will have 4 sperm cells yan. So mabilisan na lang yan, ano? Tapos, ito yung oogenesis. Ano yung very important thing that you have to remember? Sperm cells, no arrest, no stoppage, no stops. But for the oogenesis, there are 2 stops or arrest that happens. Where here at primary oocyte, it stops. And here at the secondary oocyte, it also stops. So oogonium is diploid, primary oocyte is also diploid, and undergoes mitosis. So this is before the birth. And then for meiosis naman, it will start with the secondary oocyte, and then until it produces the egg cell. Okay, so that will be the important thing to remember. So you remember that the secondary oocyte will be analogous to the secondary spermatocyte. The ovum and the polar bodies will be analogous to the spermatid, and the sperm cell will continue simply to differentiate. Of course, the primary oocyte is analogous to the primary spermatocyte, and the oogonium will be analogous to the spermatogonium. Okay, pahinga na muna tayo dito. Okay, breathe in. Okay, and then breathe out. Okay, can I see a clap reaction kung nasusundan niyo ako up to this point in time? Okay, so I'll just finish up na lamang para tayo ay madami na tayong matapos. So we're done with that one. Okay, so spermatogenesis. Okay, I'm just gonna give it a very, very fast na lang para bilis. Yan. So spermatogenesis starts with 2N and ends with an N. Oogenesis starts with a 2N and then ends with an N. The product will be 4 spermatids, but oogenesis will have 1 egg cell, 1 ootid. Okay, so those are the important things you have to take note of. So, kasi hindi ko na itong basahin dito, you can read it later na lamang. So, here's a few questions. A human has 23 chromosomes in his gametes. How many does he have in his somatic cell? Answer is A, B, C, or D. A is 23, B is 46, C is 69, D is 92. Correct answer here is, okay, that's right, it is letter B kasi diploid ang 46. Very good. In spermatogenesis and oogenesis statements below is not correct. A, spermatogenesis produces 4 haploid daughter cells while oogenesis produces 2 diploid cells. B, spermatogenesis produces millions of sperm cells at a time, while oogenesis produces 1 egg a month. C, spermatogenesis produces sperm cells, while oogenesis produces egg cell. Or D, entire process of spermatogenesis takes place at a shorter period of time compared to oogenesis. Is it A, B, C, or D? Ayan, okay, may napasok na. Correct answer here is indeed letter A. Okay, and I guess we're almost done na. I'm just gonna finish up with this one, which is the aberration and the cancer na naman. So we discussed this at the very end of the last few days na dito. So just remember, the important thing about cancer is these are abnormal cell division. This is without control. Tapos there are 3 important factors that you have to remember. We emphasize this very, very well. We have the growth factors. How do you differentiate cancer cells from normal cells? I always mention sa inyo, cancer cells says, wala akong pakialam. I don't care. So for that, whether there is a growth factor or there is the absence of a growth factor, the cancer cell continues to divide. Where for the normal cells, the presence of growth factors causes it to divide, while the absence of growth factors causes it to not to divide. So that's the important thing that you have to remember there. For the density-dependent inhibition, ano okay na sinabi ng cancer? Cancer says, I don't care. Whether there are spaces in between or there are no spaces in between, the cancer cell will continue to divide. The normal cells, of course, when there are spaces, it will continue on dividing. But once there are no more spaces, normal cells will stop dividing. So that's the most important thing that you have to remember in terms of density-dependent inhibition. And then we have the anchorage dependence. Ano naman itong anchorage dependence? There's a base. There's a basal membrane. There would be the what do you call this? The anchor. So the cells over here, once the base are still available, the cells will divide. This will be for normal cells. But once the base has been occupied already, normal cells will stop dividing. But again, for the cancer cells says, I don't care. Wala akong pakialam. May base man o walang base, the cancer cells will continue on dividing until you produce a lump, which we call as a tumor. So very important that you have to take note of that. So there's a transformation from the, what we call this, normal cell to becoming a cancer cell. Now, before we continue, what do you call again the tumor? The tumor that doesn't go any place. It doesn't invade other tissues. You call that as benign. And what do you call that? The tumor that would be invading others. It's called as? Yes, it's called the malignant. Okay, very good, everyone. So another thing that is very important here. Now, with regards to transformation, I emphasize that the cancer cells develop because of an accumulation of mutation. It is again irreversible and it is multi-step. And particularly, there are 2 cancer critical genes that you have to remember, the proto-oncogene and also the tumor suppressor gene. So let me just emphasize itong dalawang important things na ito. How are cancers produced? It is because of these 2 genes. Now you have to remember, proto-oncogenes are found in all of the cells because proto-oncogenes are actually genes that are very important for normal cell division. Since all of our cells, maliban na lamang sa heart cell at sa brain cells, when we are adults, they do not divide anymore. But every other cell will divide one time or another, which means all of our cells contain normally proto-oncogene. So ano nangyayari? Bakit nagka-cancer? The proto-oncogene is transformed into the cancerous oncogene. And how does that happen? Pag kami mga triggers or meron tayong mga cancer-producing or cancer-causing agents. So we mentioned a lot of those last time. So smoking can cause cancer, UV light from the light can cause cancer, chemicals like ito yung mga cancer-producing chemicals can also produce cancer. Ingat lamang tayo sa mga chemicals na yan. Other sources would be X-rays, radiation, and several others. So, nabanggit na natin yan sa discussion natin last time. So, what happens? The proto-oncogene will be mutated by these triggers, producing it, making it transforming it to become an oncogene producing the cancer. There are three ways by which this can happen. Number one ay yung iyong what do you call this, proto-oncogene. There's a gene here. It will be transferred to a very active promoter, kaya bumilis ang kanyang pag-divide. Another way is wherein na-duplicate yung gene na yan, increasing the amount of proteins that increases the speed of division. And finally, ay yung mismong gene na mutate siya, becoming very aggressive, causing it to undergo division so very fast, producing the cancer cells there, okay? And then, of course, after the proto-oncogene, you have the tumor suppressor gene, and this would be genes that suppresses the tumor. Once the tumor suppressor genes are inactivated, it will never be able to suppress the tumors anymore, so the tumors will start to grow, and then they can become cancer at this point in time. Okay, can I see a thumbs up kung nagagets na natin itong tungkol sa cancer? Okay? Okay, very good. So, with that, I will just be finishing na lang and let's go to abnormalities or chromosomal aberrations na lamang. And we're almost done. Yes, I'm sorry. Chromosomal aberration. Napakita ko rin yung answer, pero this type of chromosome disorder is present as always in boys. Or instead of having an XY chromosome pair, they carry XXY or XXXY as their sex chromosome. What do you call this? Edwards syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, Patau syndrome, and Turner syndrome. What's the correct answer here? Yes, that's right. It is called Klinefelter syndrome. And this will be implying to us na kailangan nyo, of course, memorize yung mga names at alam din ninyo kung ano yung particular abnormality nito. Okay? So, chromosomal aberration usually leads to miscarriages and as a result of non-disjunction. Just to emphasize some part na ito, can you see this portion? Pag sinabing non-disjunction, the chromosomes did not separate, leading to an additional chromosome in some of the gametes and leading to lack of chromosomes in some of the gametes. So, this is called monosomy kasi iisa na lamang. On the other hand, these are called trisomies kasi tatatlo ang copies ng iyong chromosome here. Why? Because there is a non-disjunction in the separation of the chromosome. At this point, meiosis 1. On the bottom diagram, you have here a non-disjunction, this time sa meiosis 2. So, instead of the sister chromatids separating from each other, this sister chromatid remain together, kaya one of the gametes contain an extra chromosome, kaya trisomy siya. Ito naman ay kulang ng chromosome, kaya monosomy siya. As you can see here, kulang siya, while the other gametes will be normal. Okay, can you say a thumbs up kung naintindihan ninyo yung non-disjunction and how the chromosomal aberrations are produced? Okay, very good. So, let's just finish up na lamang. Aneuploidy, you know already, one or more individual chromosomes are missing or in addition. Ang polyploidy naman, whole sets naman ang nadadagdag dyan. But we're gonna be giving our attention more on the monosomy, 2n minus 1, because 1 would be missing, o kung dalawang missing, 2n minus 2. Pagka naman additional chromosome, then it becomes 2n plus 1 pag sobra ng isa, or 2n plus 2 pag sobra ng dalawa, so on and so forth. Kaya you have to be careful when you're being asked what will be the chromosome number, especially when there's chromosomal aberration. You have to count each of the chromosome. Pag sobra ng isa, then it becomes for humans, 2n is equal to 47. 46 plus 1. Kung dalawang sobra, then it becomes 2n is equal to 48. It will become 46 plus 2. Pagka naman kulang ng sabihin natin tatlo, then it becomes 2n is equal to 43 kasi minus 3 naman na chromosome siya. So these are examples of the aneuploidy. And let me just emphasize na lamang ito. I won't go into details na lamang. Down syndrome is trisomy 21, 3 chromosome 21. Edwards syndrome is trisomy 18, 3 chromosome 18. Patau syndrome is trisomy 13, tatlong chromosome 13. So all of these are aneuploidy of the autosomes because you take note of this one, these are found in the autosomes. Chromosome 21, chromosome 18, and then chromosome 13. The other set of aneuploidies are aneuploidy of the sex chromosome. So I'll just go very fast na lamang dito kasi you already know this. Pakita ko na lang pala yung karyotypes. So this is chromosome 21, sobra sa Down syndrome. For Edwards syndrome, sobra ng trisomy 18. For, as you can see here, trisomy 18 is 1, 2, 3. Everything is normal. And then Patau syndrome is trisomy 13. You can see that there is an extra chromosome 13 here, 1, 2, 3. And then for the aneuploidy, the sex chromosome, take note, we are now dealing with sex chromosomes only. Do not look at the autosomes here. Klinefelter is XXY. Pwede rin naman na XXXY or XXXXY. Basta there's an additional X chromosome to the XY. So that's Klinefelter syndrome. Meta-female is XXX. You have 3 chromosomes X. And then you have Jacob syndrome, which is XYY, as you can see over here. So those would be the thing that you have to remember about the aneuploidy of the sex chromosome. Of course, there will be several others pa, but these are the 3 most, yung pinakamataas ang percentage that happens as an aneuploidy or chromosomal aberration. Okay, I go to the last thing na DIDIT. Okay, DIDIT na lamang. Okay, without looking at your notes, what is again DIDIT? Can you write in the chat box what is the meaning of DIDIT? Ayan, okay. Letter D is deletion. That's right. That's the letter I. The letter I is insertion. That's right. The letter D is duplication. The letter I is inversion. And the letter T is, yan, it is, of course, translocation. So we end with this by looking at how this happens. So when deletion occurs, natatanggal lamang a section of the DNA and the chromosomes become shorter, as you can see over here. So na-delete siya, nabawasan yan, become shorter. And of course, when genes are deleted, it will be causing abnormalities to develop. Okay, no problem. Let's continue on. So that's deletion. And this is where the break happens, shortening our chromosome. Kribosha is an example of that. That will be deletion of chromosome 5. Translocation involves 2 chromosomes, so the ends or parts of the chromosome will be exchanged. So you now have a blue and a yellow, and then a yellow and a blue. So that is called translocation. Of course, there will be problems as well. Abnormalities can also develop there. So this is what happens when there's translocation. One example is Philadelphia chromosome, where chromosome 9 and 22 would be exchanging parts. Down syndrome din, pwede rin siya. May lumipat na part ng chromosome 20 to another chromosome, kaya nagkaroon ng Down syndrome. Duplication, you have one portion that has been duplicated, so you have 2 of this. And has become longer. Siyempre, magkakaroon na abnormality rin yan kasi double the dosage ang mapuproduce niyan. Duplicated chromosome, as you can see here. And then finally, inversion, may invert siya. So when this is inverted, as you can see over here, it's inverted. Centromeres can also be inverted. Can this produce abnormality? Yes. Kasi once na na-invert ninyo yung pinaka section na yan, it is possible that it will be connected to a different kind of or a different sequence of DNA or a different promoter. So there will now be a great difference na rin in the production of proteins na yan. And that will be the end of our discussion. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.